for any remote viewing I do, and I'll work on any project for anyone. I'm not a nutter in any way, so I find that quite bad and negative in a way.
That they were portrayed as ridiculous.
Well, just the funny part, when in fact, even though that's great entertainment, you know, that's taking away from the real purpose. And, you know, I mean, I don't know who came up with, more than likely a 5-star general came up with a stupid-ass idea to do it with a goat. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. So anyway, let's move on. The TRV, the technical aspect of remote viewing, Daz.
Okay, so if we just go back to CRV for a second, in 1995, it all went public about the CIA experiments with remote viewing, and everyone, all the ex-military remote viewers started going on radio shows talking about what they did and their exploits. And what this happened is it kind of formed an explosion within the public domain of lots of different remote viewing methodologies. And essentially, they all come from the base root one of CRV. So what happens is all these military guys split up, went out into the public domain and set up their own companies. And because they set up their own companies, they had to teach CRV, but they couldn't call it CRV anymore, so they all give it their own slant. The main one being TRV, called Technical Remote Viewing, and that was taught by a guy called Ed Dames, who's quite often found on, you know, most major radio stations talking about the next catastrophe that's going to happen.
Yeah, Ed was a major in the Army, I believe.
He was, yeah, in Intel, yeah.
So far, I've seen 2 or 3 of his predictions, and not one of them was accurate. I hope it has nothing to do with his bad training of the TRV technique. But anyway, go ahead.
So yeah, so we have him teaching TRV, and then he had this is where it gets complicated. He had a student called Courtney Brown, and Courtney Brown set up his own method, but because he couldn't call it his TRV because Ed Dames obviously taught that one, he then changed it and made his called SRV. So what we have is, as remote viewing hit the public domain, all these other methodologies, all with acronyms with RV in it and another letter, formed and joined the marketplace, and essentially they all come from a parent, and the parent for this is CRV, which was the military one.
Okay, and then of course the final one, which is my alma mater, the Hawaii
Aloha.
RV. Yeah, no kidding.
The Aloha experiment. That sounds
Aloha
good.
nui kako to all the Hawaiian listeners.
Yes.
Yep. And yeah, the HRVG is a methodology now that's being taught out of Hawaii. It's a great methodology. I actually work with the people quite a lot. They actually worked on the Mysteries project with me that I think you want to discuss.
Yeah, I did. I'm glad you brought it up. Nice little segue there. So nothing as far as Hawaii that's really any different. It's just literally a spin-off from the CRV, WRV, ERV. Everybody just had to have a different name, right?
Absolutely. You'll find, if anyone does research on the internet, that once it went public in '95, you know, it hit the streets and everyone brought out their own version of essentially the military methods, and they made little tweaks and changes to it, called it their own, and now teach and set it on the internet in courses.
So who takes ownership of the Hawaii version?
That's run by a guy called Glenn Wheaton out of Hawaii.
Okay, is Glenn from Hawaii, or
he's
did
from
he just
Hawaii?
have
Yes.
to fly over it? Okay.
Yeah, he's also a soldier, ex-special forces. He also claims that he was taught the genesis of his remote viewing methods while he was in special forces.
Oh, okay.
So this is very common, isn't it, Daz?
It is, yes.
Much more
Yeah,
than
and,
many
you know,
people could possibly imagine.
Not to mention I was going to say the Stargate and all that kind of stuff that came out too. Go ahead, as I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
And there's a Mysteries project as well.
Yep. Just this year, we started doing a Mysteries project with the Farsight Institute, and it's doing a different target each month. And what they do is they're working in a unique way, in that for the first time in the history of remote viewing being public, he's managed to get all the groups to work together. Because in the past, you know, there's been a little bit of conflict and warring between the groups, you know, of who's best and all this kind of thing. But he's managed to get all the groups together, working together on projects, to look at some of the biggest mysteries in the universe and see what we can come up with.
Has that just begun, or how long has it been, really happening?
Well, we've been working together with Courtney for 3 years, all these groups, but on different projects. The Mysteries project started this year. The previous project we were looking at predictions and to see if predictions were sent awry by multiple universes, because there's a theory that multiple universes impact on predictions being accurate. And the year before that, the first year we trialed, we did a year-long program of remote viewing trying to determine what the climate's going to be like in the year 2013.
Any results?
Well, yeah, we had some amazing results on that one. Bearing in mind the entire project was done blind, so none of the remote viewers knew what they were remote viewing.
Oh.
Essentially what the project was to look at different locations on the globe in the year 2008, which we did it, and also looking at those same locations in 2013 to see if there were any changes. And it was all done blind, and it was all done by a random process. So that when the remote viewers, including myself, did a target, we didn't know where the location was on the planet and whether it was in the present or if it was in the future. But what we found that the whole entire project, after it finished with, I think, 20 different remote viewers from all around the world doing hundreds of targets, what we found with our results at the end of it was that all the remote viewers, when they described locations for the present, they described no catastrophic events at all. And for that year in 2008, there weren't any in any of the locations that we described. But we did have a consensus, and all of us seemed to describe that there were going to be some very serious major Earth changes for quite a lot of the locations that we looked at for the year 2013.
That it was prior to, or that it was that right then?
Yeah, it could. I would say the events are going to happen in the year 2012 to 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there goes that Nostradamus thing. That,
now, even though people cut now, Nancy asked just now: do remote viewers work on issues about world peace? It's
very hard, really, because how would you, with remote viewing, it's only good to use on targets that you can have feedback for. So you need to know whether it's going to be, if the data is going to be accurate or not, and it's quite hard to quantify world peace.
Well, yeah, because you're not talking necessarily one country or one state. You're talking, the world. You're talking
everyone. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's the named and unnamed idiots out there that we have no control over their brain.
Absolutely. But what we do is, it's not world peace, but we can remote view and do some good. Like, we can remote view and determine illnesses in people. I've been involved in some trials in that which have been successful.
Well, that's important too, and I was about to ask you that too. Is all of these examples and trials, I think, are extremely critical and important, but ultimately, somewhere down the road, I would hope that with all this knowledge and training from all of these remote viewers all over the world, regardless of whether it's Russia or the United States or England, it doesn't really matter. It's when you have this kind of talent out there, you really do need to pursue some kind of, for lack of a better term, give your gift a chance to give back. But what I mean by that is try to find a missing person with it, solve a homicide, get a scumbag off the street that's killing and hurting people, and I would hope somewhere down the road, the Lynn Buchanans and Ingo Swans and Courtneys and Ed Dames and all these people, start thinking about helping people rather than making money. And I'm not saying that they're all in it for the money, but somewhere down the road, you got to give back.
I do want Daz to tell us just in the remaining moments about his dedicated remote viewing magazine, 8martinis.com, and how people can get a hold of that.
Yeah, well, they can go to the website, 8martinis.com, and download the magazine free, or if they want a printed version, they can order themselves a printed version, and we make